I hope you enjoyed that introduction to Henry VIII, and now just a little postlude to all of that. And that is using my theory that a picture is worth 1,000 words. I have behind me here the official portrait of Henry VIII that I want to talk about for just a few minutes. But a reminder that the Reformation in England was first political. Simply stated, Henry VIII had to have a son. It was his only life's mission. It took him 48 years. It cost him, at that point, 3 wives. It cost him the relationship with Rome. He needed to do what he needed to do. You can judge it any way you want, but he was doing what he had to do, which was to have a son. So here's his official portrait that says a lot about Henry VIII. It's obviously a miniature reproduction. The original is no longer extant. It burned down in one of his palaces, I think, at the early 1800s. Fortunately, the artists have made something called a cartouche, which is like a cartoon, but it's like a stencil. So when the painting was done, they had laid this thin piece of paper over it, stenciled out, and then they poked little holes in it so they can make replicates. And that cartoon has been saved, and then you roll out the cartoon on a canvas, you take a little bag of charcoal dust and pounce it on those little holes, take up the stencil, and you got your lines, and you can fill it in. So that had remained. We still have it. It's in the National Portrait Gallery. Come with me, I'll show it to you. And the first thing we see about Henry VIII's portrait is its size. It's huge, probably 8 by 10 feet, not inches. It hangs high on a wall. And that's what he wanted. He wanted you to be intimidated, first of all, when you looked at his portrait, and you would have to look up. Secondly, notice the predominant colors, red and white. That would be the red rose of the Lancasters and the white rose of the Yorkists. And remember, the Tudor symbol superimposed the red and the white rose. So he's using both colors of the houses that he had protested. Remember, he also married a Yorkist. It was a way, you see, to win all of his enemies over to his side. You'll also notice, and this is picture is also in your handout, that his necklace right there, his amulet, is the Tudor rose, in case you missed that. So we have the size, we have the color, we have the Tudor rose. That's all present in the king's portrait. But now you've been staring at that for 2 minutes and 56 seconds, and I wonder how many of you see it yet. And that is, remember, his life's mission was to have a son. Well, look at the composition of how he chose to pose. Look from his right shoulder to his left foot, and his right foot to his left shoulder. In the whole portrait, you see the lines form, if you will, a big X. Well, what's at the very center of the X? Right there. His codpiece. A codpiece, because we're all adults, is just kind of a medieval thing of a jockstrap, right? But look again. His codpiece, where do most men wear their jockstrap, is below their clothes. Notice here, Henry VIII has his codpiece exposed. It's all pointing to his central mission of life to have a son. And in case you missed the codpiece, notice that there's 2 ribbons right there that draw the eye there. And notice the angle of the arms, the knife, and the sheath. All of that, the X and all those symbols, draw you straight to the center of the picture, which is his exposed codpiece. The other interesting thing here are his exposed ankles. Again, for men at this medieval era, that wasn't just a fashion statement. It was thought that a man's virility was judged by the size of his calves. And so Henry here chooses to have his calves painted. And if you look at them in your handout, you'll also notice that the calves are very large and over proportioned. All of that is meant to point you to his virility. And then finally, his shoes. Notice that he's wearing flats. And notice the extravagance of his costume. There's also in the picture, isn't there kind of an oral dimension with the ear? Because there's no way that the king could have walked like that in flat shoes without shuffling. And when you shuffle in a costume like that, he would have very much pronounced his entrance into any room. That's our guy, Henry VIII. 6 wives, only life mission to have a son and to have people respect him as the new Tudor on the throne. The picture is worth 1,000 words, and I think the picture does it.